Are we ready? You can already see the color. I mean, like it's like you can kind of see it on the spoon how orange it is.
That's nice.
It looks best if it's swirled. Okay, are we good?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Hi everyone. It's a really hot day today. I'm like sweating in our kitchen, but we're gonna make a really cooling and delicious beverage today, Thai iced tea. It's definitely a favorite of mine. And we actually have two methods to make it. So the first is a traditional Thai iced tea that you're gonna get, like basically exactly the same thing that you're gonna get at a restaurant. So we're using this Thai tea mix, which I bought online. It wasn't expensive. I think this whole bag cost like $6. And this blend is 99.99% tea, but it also does have food coloring in it. So this is why some people tend to shy away from this version, but I actually prefer it because it does really taste exactly like what you get at the restaurant.
It says Thailand Quality Prime Minister's Export Award. Ooh. It's like, ooh, this is like a major proud product of Thailand.
However, if you would rather have a natural Thai iced tea, we're gonna do a version for that as well. So I'm using black tea bags. I have regular old Lipton here, you know, your tried and true, as well as a chai tea bag, which is gonna add sort of a little bit of that Thai-ish spice and warmth. The Indian chai tea actually has a lot of the same spices that Thai iced tea blends have. You could also grab a Thai iced tea blend that's natural online. There are like Harney & Sons makes one, and there are a few others as well. In addition to the actual tea, we're gonna use some actual spices. So we have here star anise, cloves, cardamom, and a cinnamon stick that we're gonna steep the tea with, as well as vanilla extract. And I think that the vanilla sort of like, earlier my sister mentioned like Thai iced tea has this almost like chocolatey smell, but I think it's mostly coming from vanilla. It just has that sort of like, I don't know, that like warmth, that like kind of like sweet cakiness. It's like a weird way to describe it, but that's how I think of it. And then we have turmeric. So the turmeric is basically here for color, so that you're not kind of just getting that like plain tea look. It's gonna look a little bit more yellow, a little bit more orange, a little bit like what you would expect Thai iced tea to look like. So let's start. You can kind of see me make both versions and see which version you would like to try. So let's start with the traditional Thai iced tea mix. It's really straightforward. You basically just add boiling water to this mix. So I'm gonna, I just spilled, oh dear. Okay, I'll do it over the pitcher. That would have been smarter. Okay. So I'm just gonna pour 2/3 of a cup of the tea mix into a pitcher. I'm gonna do 2/3 of a cup of tea for 4 cups of water. That's actually a little bit less than the ratio that the package says, but I found that using like a full cup of tea for 4 cups of water was a little bit excessive. Like I want this bag to go a little bit longer, to kind of stretch a little bit longer than that. So as long as you steep it longer, I think you're gonna get like a really nice strong flavor from that ratio. So I'll just put this away. And you just add water to here, and you steep it for as long as it takes to cool. So that's, I think it's a couple hours. You could steep it for longer than that. The stronger the tea is, the better it's gonna taste, or the more flavor it's gonna have. So I'm using a heat-proof tempered glass pitcher here. Just make sure that whatever container you're using is heat-proof. If it's ceramic or tempered glass, that's fine. You just wanna avoid pouring hot water into glass that isn't heat proof. That happened to me once. the glass exploded all over the kitchen. It was a very bad time. So I'm just gonna measure out 1 quart, that's 4 cups of boiling water. These kettles are great if you don't have one. We use it like multiple times a day, every day. Chinese house, my mom's constantly drinking hot water. So that makes things super easy. And now let's pour in the water. And you can already see the color. I mean, like it's like you can kind of see it on the spoon how orange it is. This is the color that you expect from Thai iced tea, which, you know, we found out is like not the most real thing. It is food coloring that creates that color. And you'll see the turmeric version is not going to be as richly orange as this, but if you want to avoid artificial coloring, then that's your ticket.
But it smells like if like tea and hot cocoa had a baby.
Yeah, it has this kind of like a little bit of a chocolatey smell, but I think it's vanilla bean that does that. I mean, they're very opaque about what goes into it. It literally says tea. They don't give anything away about what's in the blend.
Well, it does say FDNC yellow number 6.
Right. I mean, it's tea and coloring, but they don't kind of like spell out what the tea blend is for sure.
Well, the camellia sinensis seems like the tea.
Yeah, but there's definitely more stuff in here than just leaves. Like there's like little bits. Okay. So we're gonna let that steep and cool at the same time. So I think 2 to 3 hours is good. You just want it to be, it's not gonna be completely cold, but it'll be sort of like room temperature. And then when you put ice, it'll be at a really nice drinking temperature. So let's make the natural version next. We're gonna be using tea bags. I have the 4 regular black tea bags. I just removed the tag from these, so I just kind of, I'll show you. I just unwrap it and then just like untangle it and then just pull this tag off with the staple as well. That way I can just kind of boil it and not have to worry about it. So I put in the 4 black tea bags. And then optionally, you can add a chai tea bag as well. If you don't want to do this, if you think that these spices are going to be enough, you don't have to do it, and you could just add an additional black tea bag here. Or if you're using a Thai tea blend, you could just use 5 of those. So I'm just going to drop that in there. And then I'm adding the cinnamon stick, 2 star anise, which we use a lot on the blog, usually in savory dishes. 1 green cardamom pod, and 2 cloves. And finally, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of turmeric. This is basic, it's gonna add some flavor, but it's mostly there for color. I'm basically trying to balance like using enough to give the tea color, but not so much that it's gonna overwhelm the tea in flavor. And we're gonna strain that out really well later. So that's 2 teaspoons. And turmeric is one of those ingredients that really does like have a very powerful like coloring effect on dishes. Like we use it in our egg drop soup if you would prefer not to use food coloring. And I actually also use it in my yellow cake recipe. If you really want your cake to like have that like box cake look without using like 10 egg yolks. Turmeric works really well. So now I'm gonna add the water. I just have room temperature water here because we're gonna cook this tea over the stove. So this tea is on the stove now. It's over a medium-high heat. I'm gonna bring it up to a boil. And once boiling, we're gonna turn it down to a simmer and we're gonna simmer it for 3 minutes and then we can steep it and let it cool, just like we did with the other one. I'm using this white enameled pot. Of course, you don't have to. I'm actually concerned that it's gonna stain from the turmeric, but we'll see. But basically, I wanna see how the color is, which is why I use this white pot. Okay, so the tea has cooked on the stove for about 3 minutes. It's nice and hot, and as you can see, it's like a really nice dark color. It's also a little bit, has that sort of burnt orange look. Not quite as neon as the artificial colored tea mix, but it does have that orange color. So now we're going to add the vanilla, and we're gonna let this cool and continue to steep. When you first add or are starting to cook the turmeric, you're gonna notice like, whoa, okay, it smells like turmeric. But as the tea bag sort of infuses into the water, it's gonna sort of smell more like tea. So now we're adding the vanilla, which is gonna add additional fragrance. And that now it's starting to sort of have that smell, that like warm, I don't know, desserty smell. Definitely smells different from the regular tea, from the turmeric. I will say that. So if you're like anti-turmeric and you don't care about the color, you could just leave it out and it'll just sort of be more of a pure tea flavor. So that's an option too. If you know your brain doesn't really care as much about like the look of the drink, just kind of skip the turmeric, that's fine. Okay, so the tea is steeped and cooled. It's actually steeped a little bit longer than 2 hours. I think it's been like almost 4 hours, which is just gonna give the tea a stronger taste. So now I'm gonna strain it and assemble the drinks. So let's start with the Thai tea mix version. So this is the easiest one to put together. All you have to do is use a fine mesh strainer. The mesh here is really fine, so it's not gonna let any of the larger tea particles through it. We'll need something finer for the natural version since it has powdered turmeric in it, but this one's really easy. So I'm just gonna strain the tea into a measuring cup so that it's easy to pour into the glasses. And as you can see, it's really orange. It is like orange soda orange. Okay, so just a quick word on the leftover tea that you have and whether or not you can reuse it, because it is a lot, and I know that some of you are going to ask that question. So it's quite a bit of tea, as you can see, left. Once it's steeped in the water, it kind of puffs up a bit, and there's quite a large volume of tea remaining. So you actually can put, I don't know, like another 2 cups of water in here, steep it even overnight. And you'll get like a lighter tasting tea. It's not gonna taste quite as strong or as good as this first batch, but if you wanna stretch your tea, you can do that. Okay, so to assemble the drink, it's pretty easy. I'm just gonna add a couple tablespoons of sweetened condensed milk. This is actually a great way to use up leftover condensed milk if you have some remaining, which is the case here, because we made, I forget what we made, but we have this whole jar left. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons. You can add however much you like. And then I'm gonna add the ice. And then I'm gonna pour the tea in. And you have like this really vibrant color with some separation at the bottom. So I'm gonna actually splash on some more milk on top. So you could use whole milk for this. You could use half and half to make it really creamy, or I'm actually using full fat oat milk for the top. So that's what I'm gonna pour in now. Just a couple tablespoons, just to give it that swirly color. Add a straw, which you can use to stir, and that's it.
So you don't, yeah.
So I'm just gonna stir it up.
Ooh, that color.
Which I kind of plugged the bottom of the straw with the condensed milk a little bit, but it's okay. Just gonna get I'm gonna get a really milky first sip. So good. It's like dessert. And if you're having like well, if it's a hot day like today, this is super refreshing, but also if you're eating like really spicy Thai dishes, like if you make, like say my Thai basil chicken, or you make pad Thai and you put those really hot Thai red chilies in here, this will cool you right down. Delish. So now we're gonna do the natural version, which we need a little bit of extra equipment here. I just have a few layers of cheesecloth in here to help catch those really fine grains of turmeric. Okay, so we did try, just so you know, we did try to use a coffee filter for this. The straining process is extremely slow with a coffee filter, so the cheesecloth works a little bit better. And just make sure you have enough layers such that the tea can strain through, but also so that you're actually straining out the turmeric, because the holes on the cheesecloth are actually a little bit larger than your fine mesh strainer, but when you like kind of put it in multiple layers, it'll strain that stuff out. So I think I have like 6 layers of cheesecloth here, like just folded over itself. And a lot of the turmeric settled to the bottom of the pot anyway, so just kind of be careful about avoiding the really sedimenty bits at the bottom.
Perfect.
But here you can see the color of the tea. It's actually decently dark and a little bit orange, yellow orange from the turmeric. Not quite that neon color of the Thai tea mix, but the turmeric did give it a little bit of color. Okay, so let's assemble our natural Thai iced tea. So once again, I'm gonna put in the condensed milk. And you can put as much or as little as you like. Thai iced tea traditionally is very sweet though, so I'm gonna be generous with it. I like to put the sweetened condensed milk at the bottom because I just like stirring it up from the bottom. You can also pour it over the top, but I actually think it's nicer when you pour over your half and half or your whole milk over the top, because you get that kind of, it swirls better than the condensed milk, which is why I put it on the bottom. So I'm just gonna put the ice in now, and then I'm gonna pour in the tea. You can see the difference in color here already. It's a little bit orange, but it's definitely not like the mix. But now I'm gonna swirl that other milk on top and stir. Maybe I'll add a little bit more tea in there. So this version, as you can see, is a lot lighter than the other one, but it's still really tasty. It's nice and sweet and it's fragrant and has lots of that spice flavor. I will say the flavor is different. It's different from this Thai tea mix version. It's just as fragrant, but it's like a little bit more almost like spicy. But it is all natural, so you kind of saw both versions being made. You can kind of make a decision of which one you want to try, or try both, and see which one you like better.
Which one do you like better?
As I said at the beginning of the video, I prefer the traditional Thai iced tea mix because I just think, I like ordering Thai iced tea out at restaurants, and I just think it tastes exactly like what you would get at a Thai restaurant. And if that's what you're after, I would go with the tea mix. But if you have black tea bags at home, you have the spices, and you kind of want to avoid food coloring, then this is a great alternative. So there you have it, how to make a Thai iced tea. We hope that you enjoy this beverage this summer, or if you're cooking Thai dishes, that it kind of cools your mouth down while you're eating all those Thai chilies.
video.